Good morning, 819S. On my way to work. It's early in the morning. It had rained this morning, but it seems like it has stopped now. It's 24 degrees out right now, with a high of 29 today. I think the rain had cooled the temperature down just a little bit. But it's humid. So humid. It's a nice day anyways, and I'm hoping that the rain will continue this week and bring the temperatures down, because it's been over 30 the last few days. It's scorching. This kind of heat wave makes me slightly concerned about the summer this year. And today I don't have any real strong topics, but I've been thinking a lot about health influencers and health news and things like that you read on the internet. I've been a guy who takes supplements for a lot of my life. I don't exactly remember when or why I started taking supplements for the first time, but I started taking supplements when I lived in America, and I stopped for a little while because people convinced me that they don't really do anything. They're kind of worthless, things like that. I heard some doctors say when you read the stats on how much vitamin C is in an orange or something like that, so you can make sure you get your correct amount per day, your daily recommended intake or input. They said that the numbers and stats that you read about stuff like that are typically based on the past, and that modern food doesn't contain the same nutrients as the traditional food does. And I'm not a researcher or scientist. I would have no way to verify the claims either way. But I did find some things that I believe. For example, vitamin D, they say, comes from the sun, and there's very few nutritional sources. And I think people wear sleeves. They cover their face. In Japan, women cover their arms, cover their face, cover most of their body. They don't want the UV to hit them. My understanding is the true belief that UV can cause wrinkles and damage to your skin and potentially skin cancer if the exposure is great enough. And so, to minimize risk as much as possible, they try to protect themselves with UV blocking clothing as much as possible. And then, as a result, I think that they don't get a sufficient amount of vitamin D. My wife sometimes caught colds and got kind of sick in the winter. I got her to try a vitamin D supplement, and she seems to be a little healthier during those seasons as a result. I typically am more healthy during those seasons as a result too. If I compare the years when I didn't take it to the years that I do take it, anecdotally, it seems like it has an effect. I also go through something that I think a lot of health people don't talk about so much, and the idea of a supplement is to add to instead of replace, right? Supplement means in addition to, so you should be getting a baseline of it at some point. If I do wear short sleeves, I'm getting a bit of vitamin D from sunshine. My body's producing enough, or my body's producing some. And then a vitamin D supplement can just add a little bit more to it. And the reason I talk about quantity like that is the vitamin D that I take is a small gummy. It's a small cube. The recommended amount on the package is 2 pieces per day. And I typically just take one a day, and I don't even take one every single day. When I feel like maybe my vitamin D levels might be getting low, my nose might start running, I might get a little sniffle. I think, okay, today I should take one. Then the next day, if I feel fine, I don't really need to take it. Things like that. So, I think that if you do them in moderate amounts, they're not so bad. But I'm also more skeptical of other claims. I do believe the claim of vitamin D, but I'm skeptical of other claims that people make, like the amount of protein that you need to consume per day and things like that. There's tons and tons of other supplements out there that I'm not really sure if we need, but they can do something. I do kind of believe in mushroom supplements, which I think is another big thing. I don't like the taste of mushrooms, so I never eat mushrooms. And I've taken some mushroom supplements, but I never really noticed any change, positive or negative. So I stopped taking them because if I don't feel any different, I can't really confirm that they're doing anything. And then I started reading some of the research online. It says some of them are using, I forgot the medical term now or the scientific term, but basically the roots of the mushroom. And then other people said you need to be using the fruiting body of the mushroom. So if you're taking the wrong supplement because it's using the wrong part of the mushroom, then you're not going to get the same benefit. And then other research says the roots have one benefit, but the mycelia, is that what it is? Mycelia versus the fruiting body, one has one benefit, another has another benefit, and people conflate the two. And I think there's just a lack of definitive research out there. So as much as I want to believe in them and I want to take them, I tried and I didn't notice any difficult or any difference. So I kind of gave up on them. As far as protein too, my coworker and I got into a little bit of a debate about how much protein you need. I think he was consuming something wild. It was like 120 or 140 grams of protein a day. It was something outrageous. And I argued that that might be appropriate for someone who's lifting the heaviest weight possible and is really trying to bulk up and is trying to do something major. And he told me a calculation about body weight times a certain number should be the amount of protein that you need every day. My wife also, she likes this kind of topic when it comes to protein. And yeah, I don't know, I sit somewhere in the middle on that. I do think that many people don't consume significant enough amounts of protein. I think typical diets tend to be lower in protein than the average person needs. But I think that a lot of the numbers you find online are typically excessive. Haven't done too much experimentation personally to verify what the correct amount is. One of the arguments I did get into with my coworker was gluconeogenesis is what I believe it's called, and that is the idea that protein gets converted into sugar in your body if you have excessive protein. He didn't believe me that happened. I believe the conversation was something like, I keep gaining weight, but I'm only consuming protein. And I was like, yeah, but because the protein's turning into sugar. He's like, no way, protein can't turn into sugar. Like, I'm not an expert, but check it out, gluconeogenesis. And when he looked it up, he was surprised. We haven't had the conversation again since that day, but I'm assuming, or I'm fairly certain, that he started to cut down on his protein slightly. And in his case, he does go to the gym, so I think for him, a slightly higher protein intake does make sense. I stopped going to the gym. I tried Orange Theory, and I really loved it. I just don't have the time or the money for it right now. But if I could, I would definitely go back to it. And then what I think I would do personally is probably 75 to 90 grams of protein a day, which I think is probably a little bit on the high side, but if I'm going to the gym, that would make sense to me. If I'm not going to the gym, I feel like that's a little excessive, so I don't do anything like that at this point. So, I'm curious to hear your take. Do you supplement? Do you not supplement? Why not? Have you noticed any significant health benefits from supplementing? Have you noticed any detriments from supplementing? Oh, I guess there's one last point thinking about it now. The other one I take with vitamin D in winter, especially fall, winter, and spring, is vitamin C. Because there's another thing that I do know that I do concern myself with, and that is fat-soluble versus water-soluble vitamins. So when it comes to a vitamin supplement, I think vitamin C is usually water-soluble, which means that, my understanding is that if your body doesn't need it, it will excrete it through urine or other means. And if you have a fat-soluble supplement, then your body could end up storing it in your fat, and it could end up leading to health problems further down the road. So there are some vitamins you do want to be careful you don't want to take to excess, and therefore only supplement if you know that you have a deficiency. But other things like vitamin C, I think, would be safe, typically, because your body will excrete it if it's not needed. Yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to say. I know, a little different from what I would usually talk about, but something that I do think about from time to time, and something that I do in my life, so. Alright, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Yeah, 24 degrees out right now. Supposed to get up to 29. And I'm glad because the roads have dried up, so maybe the rain has stopped for the day today. That would be a good thing. See you guys in the next one. Get out there and ride. Definitely ride safe. CRF? Yeah, I think so. Aftermarket muffler, but not too loud. I liked it.